Hey, my name is Akashdeep, and I love to paint. Recently, I showed my friend Balpreet my painting at Gage Park.
Wow, nice. You should do something for One Lions Roar next month.
When lions roar, what's that?
Well, it's an annual event by the Sikh Activist Network commemorating the 19...
Oh, you don't mean that 1984 thing. I told you, I don't want anything to do with that. It's too controversial.
How so?
Well, it's that thing where that guy and those terrorists, or whatever, went into the Golden Temple, and a lot of people died, so yeah.
What the? Who told you that?
I don't know, people.
How can you say all those things without even taking the time to do your own research?
Okay, but those terrorists had guns in the Golden Temple. Why would you take guns into the Gurdwara? That's against our religion. If there's one thing that my mom taught me, it's violence is never the answer.
Yeah, but protecting the Harmandir Sahib was not an act of violence. Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, if all other means fail, it is your duty to defend yourself.
Yeah. They should have tried peaceful negotiations, not just start barricading the Gurdwara.
Exactly, they did. The entire movement was peaceful. It's only the end that everyone remembers.
What entire movement are you talking about?
Akashdeep, take a seat. This is gonna take a while.
Ugh, God.
So basically, when India was ruled by Britain, the people were becoming fed up and thought it was finally time for them to go. The Sikhs actually laid down far more sacrifices than any other community, even though they made up less than 2% of the entire country. Hanged to death, Sikhs 77%. Life imprisonment, Sikhs 78%. Indian National Army, Sikhs 67%. Jallianwala Bagh massacre, Sikhs 61%.
Wow.
And so when the British were finally leaving, the relatively tiny population of Sikhs were forced to choose to either live with Pakistan or split Punjab to stay in India. After being given many promises such as freedom and self-autonomy by Gandhi and Nehru, who would then become the first Prime Minister of India, Sikhs chose partition. Tens of thousands of Sikhs from Pakistan were forced to leave their homes to make the treacherous journey by foot to India in 1947. Right from independence, it was clear that the Indian Congress had no intentions of fulfilling their promises to Sikhs. Nowhere was this more obvious than the new Indian Constitution. It went as far as stating that Sikhi wasn't even its own religion. Some way to welcome a new community, eh? But that was only the beginning. Get this, Punjabi wasn't even an official language of Punjab. Isn't that just nuts? Seeing this as a direct attack on our culture, the Sikhs launched the Punjabi Subha movement and decided to peacefully protest this. Tens of thousands of Sikhs were arrested, and some even fired upon before the government decided to grant Punjabi as an official language. But this came at a deep cost. The government robbed Punjab of its capital city and further broke the state down to less than a third of its size. Punjab, meaning the land of 5 rivers, only has 2 rivers remaining, and out of that, 75% of the water is diverted out of Punjab. By 1972, it was apparent that the state had waged war on our religion, self-identity, and our glorious freedom, something our gurus and shaheeds worked so hard to obtain. So 13 academic Sikhs got together and published the Anandpur Sahib Resolution. This document addressed those very same concerns along with other issues such as worker, migrant, and farmer rights.
And then what happened?
Well, the government just laughed it off and labeled the Sikhs as separatists. Not long after, the Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, was convicted of election fraud.
I take it that was probably the end of her.
Actually, she declared a state of emergency in order to assume dictatorship powers. She censored the media, committed gross human rights violations, and incarcerated activists. Even still, it was the Sikhs who led the vocal agitation against this. It was apparent that a unified voice was needed to represent the negated concerns of the Sikh community. This gave rise to a young and charismatic man known as Sant Jarnail Singh Ji Bhindranwale. He helped launch the Dharm Yudh Morcha, a protest against the state's war on the Sikhs. Because of his message, Sikhi flourished, crime declined, and the people felt empowered. This was seen as a grave threat to the state's agenda, and so the government labeled Santji and his followers as terrorists and arrested him multiple times under false pretenses. What's more was that around the same time, the Sikhs were increasingly being attacked, picked up, and disappeared by the Indian state. The threat of violence became so high that many Sikhs feared that the state would go as far as to attack our very heart, the Harmandir Sahib. And so in 1983, Sikhs from all across Punjab decided that enough was enough. It was only then that the Sikhs decided to take the issue of security and protection of their homeland into their own hands. And so you see, all the Sikhs really ever wanted was what was promised to them right before partition. They wanted self-identity and social rights for the people of Punjab. They say the army went into the Darbar Sahib looking for terrorists, but the plan to attack was initiated long before any rifles or ammunition made it into the Parikrama.
Wow, that makes so much sense. Who told you all of this?
Research?
Well, I think I might just do a little something for When Lions Roar.